Kristen here from popmarket.com, and I'm sitting next to Mike Stuto, the owner of the Hi-Fi Bar in New York's East Village. Now before it was Hi-Fi Bar, it was Brownies, this legendary venue, seen the likes of Yeah Yeah Yeahs and Interpol, Spoon, but we're not here to talk about Brownies. We're going to talk about Hi-Fi, the killer record collection, his amazing jukebox in the front, and maybe hear a couple New York stories if we get lucky. So I know I said we wouldn't talk too much about Brownies.
That's okay.
But I'm dying to hear how it started, how you got involved.
I was in the record business doing college radio promotion and was out of work. And Brownies needed somebody to book shows, and I didn't really want to do it, but I didn't have a job. And it really started by accident. I started here in 1994. I learned how to book shows by doing it, and I didn't really know what I was doing when I started. It was really we were just in the right place at the right time for the sort of A&R boom of the mid-90s. So,
is there anything that you liked the most about booking shows?
The best stuff, wasn't necessarily about bands that blew up and got big. There were a lot of bands who played their first New York shows in this room, whether it's Spoon or Death Cab for Cutie or Pride Eyes. I know Not a Surf played here a bunch of times. I mean, that stuff was exciting because you had a band that became big and started with you. But it was just more about the bands that would come back regularly or finding getting a tape and enjoying it, and the band was good, and then they build a following partially based on me booking them and liking them, and that's really satisfying and was great. It really felt like you were contributing to the scene in ways more than more than just trying to get some big band to underplay your room. It was more exciting. That was a big part of why you did it.
Yeah, that's great. So let's talk about Hi-Fi.
Sure.
So we're sitting in Hi-Fi now.
Yes, we are.
Brownies is a thing of the past. Hi-Fi is pretty cool.
Thanks.
If I might say so. So let's talk about your record collection. We're sitting behind or in front of some really cool stuff. I see records all over the room.
Yeah. So the records on the wall are really just sort of a cross-section of different kinds of records or different bands from different eras that I was into, either from when I was a 10-year-old to today. The idea was more to not display one genre or one scene or one kind of music on the wall, but more to sort of the entire breadth of rock music from the 60s through today or whatever, but sort of through the prism of whatever I'm into. So it certainly has a bit of a personality to it, but it's not limited to a particular era or genre. And they look really good together. I mean, I love the idea of a Teenage Fan Club record that's right next to a Yes record that's right next to a Squirrel Bait record. So there's kind of different kinds of stuff from all over the place on it. So they're really meant just to be wallpaper that you can ignore or that you can look specifically at. And album covers and album art are cool art. They're cool things to look at.
So let's go around and look at some of the record walls. I got some cool belt rows. That's on the front.
Yeah, when the bar first opened, the Dylan and the Stones records were behind the wall, were behind the bar. And I don't know, I don't dislike the Beatles, but to me, Dylan and the Stones is kind of where it really all starts. Much more important to me than the Beatles were. So, and I happened to have enough Beatles and Stones records still in my collection at the time, so it just made sense to kind of have them be the anchors to the beginning of the, when you first walk in, that's what you first see. This is a homemade jukebox. There is a Dell PC inside this kiosk. The kiosk was built here. We built it ourselves. The software is designed by me and built by, someone who knows how to code. But it's a pretty good representation of what kind of music I'm into. If you kind of go through page to page, there's always, there's whatever, New Order, Peter Gabriel, Brian Jones, Time Massacre, Explosion in the Sky, Stone Roses, The Monkees. So it's a pretty easy machine to use once you know how to use it. But there are, and there's Skeleton Key, who I mentioned before, who have 2 records. But it groups together stuff by the same band. Let me see if I can find one of these. Like here's the Dirt Bombs, and if you scroll through all the Dirt Bombs records, eventually you'll get to the Gories records because that was the same lead singer. So it kind of marries bands together. It kind of cross-references stuff that's on compilations. So like there's a Dirt Bomb song in this one compilation, so it puts them together. Makes it kind of an easy way to just sort of scroll through and find what you're looking for when you're going through that large a library of, I don't know exactly, I mean it's over 4,000 full albums. So especially if you've had a couple of drinks, it's not so easy to find what you're looking for. But it also, when nobody's putting money in it, it randomly goes from a playlist that we put together, or that I put together. So the music's always really good, even when people aren't picking songs. When it comes up randomly, it's got a much better, a really good playlist of stuff that's going on. So there's always good music playing in the bar. That's sort of the idea.
I like the music history of it too, how you can go through like track by track, like album by album, and so you see, you know, like what happened to this one artist, and now he's in this band. Do you ever see people like lining up against one wall or the other, and like, oh, I bought this album?
People definitely will stand in front of the record walls and look at them or talk about their friends, or they'll start conversations. And I often will eavesdrop and like hear what they're saying about, you know, they're pointing to Elvis Costello Trust and saying something about it. And I'm like, you know, yeah, that's my favorite of those first 5 records too, or whatever. So it does start conversations. I think between the jukebox and the records on the wall, and there are conversation starters, but it sort of is more about the bar being a music, not necessarily music themed, but a bar for music enthusiasts or for rock music enthusiasts. And so the music you hear in the bar is mostly going to reflect that as well. Mm-hmm. But all kinds of people come in here that aren't just music nerds, but we do have a lot of music nerds who like our bar. Mm-hmm.